Hey friend, Chris here from Logic Pro Rules, the website and channel that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro. Today I want to show you a dead simple way to speed up or slow down your audio or MIDI performances. So we're not talking about speeding up or slowing down the entire project, though I have several videos all about that, which I'll link in the description below. But what I'm talking about is you lay down a creative idea, whether it be an audio recording or you dragged in a loop or a MIDI idea, and you feel like, man, this idea is awesome. It just needs to be a little faster or a little slower or a lot faster or a lot slower. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. Before we dig into it, I do want to apologize. It's been a couple weeks since I posted. I got sick and then I lost my voice. So it was a kind of crazy last 2 weeks. All right, with that out of the way, I'm back. Let's dig into it. All right, on screen, I have just a basic little riff. I think I dragged in just a drum loop of some sort. Then I laid down a bass idea, and then I reversed a piano and I bounced it in place. So if we take a quick listen. Cool, super basic. Now I'm feeling like at least one of these instruments could be a little slower. And I want to show you this is so simple to accomplish. Notice the drums are MIDI. So if we pop open the piano roll here, you'll notice that there's something crazy going on here. I'll show you later in the video what this blue section actually is, but I want to show you the simplest way to accomplish stretching or compressing your MIDI or audio. So I'm going to get rid of this second region here. And if we remind ourselves what the drums sound like. Now it is an awesome drum part. I just feel like it could be slower. So while I hover my mouse at the right boundary of this MIDI region, if I hold Option, right about past the halfway mark going down at the right boundary, I get this bracket icon with what looks like waveforms on each side of it. And this is a time compression or expansion tool. All I have to do while holding Option is click, hold, and drag to stretch the performance. So I'm doubling the length of time. Let's take a listen. And I can go in the opposite direction. So holding Option, I get the bracket icon, so it's going to play faster. That's pretty cool. All right, so we'll leave it there. And then, of course, we have our audio region at the bottom. So let's just mute the other two for now, remind ourselves what the keys sound like by itself. With audio, there's one other step before you start to stretch the boundaries. I mean, I could hold Option and go over to the right boundary until I see the bracket icon. But what I don't like about this approach, if I click, hold, and drag to extend it and let go, Logic Pro goes through this offline process to stretch the audio. So we take a listen. And if I decide later, no, actually, I would prefer it the original length, Logic Pro goes through another offline process. So I'm baking in the artifacts of this time stretching, which may or may not be desirable. If you're trying to make a sample or a loop sound kind of lo-fi, you may want to stretch it and then compress it and stretch it and compress it several times to bake in those artifacts. But personally, I prefer a different way of stretching the audio, and that is by showing flex here in the tracks area. And I'm just going to enable flex right here in the track header. Logic has automatically identified polyphonic mode for this piano, which may or may not be the best mode. My guess is it is. But now if I hover my mouse over the right boundary, I don't have to hold Option. I can just click, hold, and drag. And Logic Pro doesn't have to go through this offline process. With Flex, you can just immediately time stretch. You're good to go. If we take a listen. And I can go in the other direction. And you can even play with some of the other special effect modes to get a different texture. That actually sounds pretty awesome. I'll leave it on speed. Now returning to our drum performance, what was up with this sort of blue area with these handles? Well, if you go right up to functions, there's an option called time handles. Time handles is the exact same thing that you can apply some time stretching or compression for MIDI. So if I expand the edge of this region, I can make a selection by clicking, holding, and dragging from an empty section of the piano roll over the MIDI notes that I want to stretch, and then I can drag them out. Beautiful. But why you might use time handles in the piano roll as opposed to just holding Option, clicking, and dragging on the region boundary is that you can be very specific about what you want to stretch. Maybe instead I want to stretch the performance a little bit just at the end, not the entire thing. Maybe I want to create a sort of dropping off effect. So let's try that. And I'll solo the drums so we can take a listen. And once I'm done applying the time handles, I can go right back to the functions menu and turn off time handles. Perfect, so I have my performance the way I want it. Just like that, a dead simple way to speed up or slow down your MIDI and audio regions in your projects, and this is on a per region basis, so you can apply time compression or expansion for a single region, not the entire performance, and within the piano roll, you can use time handles, which is really helpful. Be sure to check out the description below. I'll include links to other videos about time stretching in a variety of different projects, and I'll see you for more later this week. Take care.